10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6.
Hello and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the rocket pool community. My name is Wack. Today is October 4th and we've got a quick episode for you all today. We're going to start with this community call right here. It says, our next community call is starting in 1 hour. Join Ken and a special host from Connext to chat about the future of layer 2s and more. It says drop your questions below and tune into the space at 8 p.m. UTC on 3rd of October. So that was yesterday. So Ken, talked to people from Connext, and then Patches was on the call as well to give updates on what's happening in the system, because Joe, who would normally attend, was not feeling great. So Patches stood in for Joe. So Sneaky gave us a summary of what happened, and he says that the Twitter space was summary of updates on SmartNode version 2.0. So one of the main things that's happening is that there's a refactor of the SmartNode code, and there's lots of re-architecting, architecting, I guess. Sorry, just sometimes you hear a word and it sounds funny, when you say it out loud. Yeah, architecting. It says there's 300 files have been changed in the source code. There's 18,000 lines of code have been deleted. 13,000 lines of code have been added. And then Sneaky says that it won't really have any notable new features for normal users. The primary intent is to refactor the code to make it easier to maintain and build things on top of it. And one of the major parts of the re-architecting, involves moving Rocket Pool API to the Rocket Pool node container, which would make the Rocket Pool API available for things other than command line interface, i.e. other user interfaces that will be able to utilize the Rocket Pool API. So then the question was, when would we get SmartNode 2.0? So the code is very far along, but we can't say the exact time, whether it will be before or after Houston. You can get more information about things that were talked about in the call if you listen to the recording, which you can see the link of on the screen. It was 1 hour and 15 minutes, but you can check that out. But the great thing about the SmartNode 2.0 is Sneaky just said in the summary, is that the platform that it will be based on is changing. So it means that you'll be able to build your own infrastructure on top of it. So what this will open up the door for is potentially for there to be a bounty, if someone wants to write one, to make a graphical user interface on top of the command line, the SmartNode stack that's happening. I think it's called webhooks or HTML hooks. I'm not exactly sure what the terminology is, but what will happen is that someone will be able to make a front end for the SmartNode stack, which will be HTML based, and you can basically interact in a graphical way instead of in a command line way, which is actually really exciting, and I think that's going to be a really nice move for making it even easier for people to stake with Rocket Pool. The backend will still be the same as far as things that I've heard from Joe, so you'll be able to interact with the SmartNode stack in the way that you know now, or if someone builds a graphical user interface on top of it, then you can use the GUI as well. So that's really exciting. Okay, getting on to the big news from yesterday, and that's kind of carrying on today, is here this post from Maker. Now, those of you who've been watching Rocket Fuel for a while will know that Maker were kind of hinting towards this happening, what I'm going to talk to you about, a few months ago. So it wasn't really much of a surprise to anyone in the community who's been around for a while. But Maker had this tweet that said, "This is an important notice to all users of the rETH-A system they have, right?" So it says the rETH A vault type is being offboarded from the Maker protocol. The first step in offboarding process is to set the executive vote on October 11th. And then this is learn more and stay updated. So it says the offboarding parameters for rETH A type vaults as detailed in the stability scope were published by Block Analytica on the Maker forum. And then there's a link to the Maker forum. Currently there are 57 rETH A active vaults, totaling 26.14 million in DAI debt. And then there's some information. This is following the approval from the stability facilitators. The rETH offboarding will be performed in 2 steps. The first one is set the maximum debt ceiling to 0, and the second one will be changing the liquidation ratio to 10,000%, liquidation penalty to 0, and set rETH chip and tip to TBD. So it says the second step parameter change required to complete the offboarding will include in the future executive vote, which will take place no sooner than October 25th. Once all aforementioned parameter changes are deployed to the Maker protocol, all rETH vault positions with collateralization ratio below 10,000% will be liquidated. So please be careful about what's going on there. If you're rETH user and want to avoid liquidation, we strongly recommend paying off your DAI debt in full and closing all your rETH vaults before the completion of the 2 mentioned steps. For more detail, see the original post in the Maker forum. So that got a lot of community attention yesterday. Here, Latetot, it says such a bad call. You guys have completely lost the way. And then Rune, who's one of the big wigs at Maker, says it's too expensive to maintain in the main legacy vault engine at such a low usage, but remains available in Spark protocol, which we'll be talking about next. It should have been communicated better in the tweet itself that this doesn't mean ending rETH exposure of DAI collateral, blah blah blah. And then other people saying as well that this is an unnecessary and bad decision. And then Jack says, why would the DAO offboard collateral like this? And then Russ says decentralization isn't profitable, so we should quit doing it. Is that the gist? And a lot of people were kind of questioning that decision. It's like, why would you do this? So here there was an interesting take from I have Millie, I guess, saying, I read over the rETH onboarding context and it's basically a straight up anti-competitive political move. They set a ridiculously high bar of target collateral for rETH vaults to meet, and there's no legitimate reason to limit DAI collateral. Maker already entrenched USDC in DeFi, and now they're being anti-competitive with LSTs and then attempting to enshrine STETH, which is a product from Lido, of course. And then here as well from Sam McPherson, he says that Spark will be increasing the supply cap for rETH, so you can move your positions there for approximately the same borrow rate. So Spark is a sub-DAO of Maker, and I think Maker are kind of moving to this like modular architecture where different sub-DAOs will deal with different kinds of products, and the core Maker protocols kind of like trying to streamline into, I'm not sure exactly what the way they're setting it all up, but it seems like, if you want to mint DAI with your rETH, then the place to go will be Spark, where you can go and do it at Spark. So this of course brought up a lot of discussion in the Rocket Pool Discord. Like I said, we've all known that this has been coming for a while. Buddha was the first person to share the tweet, and then Invis says finally, and he says Maker is bad, but Valdov said it was essentially in the card since the day that the rETH vault got its own special bullet for how it and only it could be removed for failing to meet certain criteria. Invis says also Maker bad. Did I mention that Maker's bad? And basically what happened is that they were setting the standard for rETH usage in Maker to be a lot higher than it was. They were trying to match it with STETH's usage as a ratio of their market cap, and of course it was not like that. So here, look, Valdov says someone specifically put in a line item that said we needed to be as profitable per market cap as Lido or more, and it wasn't as profitable by some arbitrary metric basically. And note that if we were more profitable, there'd be no benefit or decrease on Lido or anything. So it was just, as Val over here says, he says they just wrote themselves an excuse. Might be one of the cases where the D in DAO wasn't so apparent. So here, Noshua says rETH got special treatment on the way in and on the way out. So it seems like when rETH was being onboarded, it wasn't quite in the same way that other products were being onboarded. Like, I think that's what Nosh was insinuating here, and then on the way out kind of got shafted basically, pardon my language. But yeah, there was a lot of discussion that's kind of been taking place about this decision, and there were some really bad takes that were put out there by people in crypto Twitter, and there was people trying to argue against it and saying like you're kind of dumb, but yeah, it's happening. So you can move your position to Spark if you have a DAI position, and it says for approximately the same borrow rate. So hopefully it won't impact you too much. Just please act ASAP. Like I said, there's 57 vaults that are open. So getting liquidated would be really bad. So please don't get liquidated. So please move your position or repay your loan ASAP. And of course, you can take your rETH to Gravita, who will happily take it and give you GRI in return, which might be an option for you. I'm not endorsing Gravita. It's just the first one that comes to mind. There's a whole lot of other lending protocols out there now that will take your rETH. So yeah. Okay, next we've got this video from Kevin, who says, I've been creating this video in the past week, and it is a new ETH staking machine with the stuff you can see on the screen. So there's RAM and whatever you saw there. There's RAM and the hard drive and like a processor that can run your stake. So I think Kevin is trying to make a new kind of hardware that's available for stakers. Yorick says, nice. It's Wi-Fi but no Ethernet port. What's the decision around including an Ethernet port? Not for this version. And Meg says maybe just add in the USB Ethernet adapter on your own. But Kevin says we may redesign the mini base to include a RJ45 port. Having it directly on the tower is not feasible due to one room on the board, and two, such design won't sit well with the extra large setup, which is they're kind of creating, I guess, some kind of modular hardware system where your tower can be upgraded into an extra large setup. So they've got some kind of FX blocks is the name of the company, I think, and they've got some kind of like system that they're putting together. It says that they might include an Ethernet adapter with power pass through in the package. Yorick says, got it, thanks. I think Joe was keen on 2.5G, but personally I think that's optional for staking. 1G is plenty to be sure. And yeah, they were just talking about the different kinds of dongles that then you can use to get that power through and the Ethernet adapter. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on here. So I thought I'd give them a shout out because staking hardware is always good. It can't be more expensive than Avado or the stuff Dapnode sells, like way overpriced stuff. But yeah, that's a whole different discussion. Okay, next we're going to be talking about this Validator Q website on the Ethereum beacon chain. So this was updated a minute ago. Let's just give it a quick refresh. So right now there's 9,255 validators, and the wait time to get those through will be 3 days and 10 hours. So this queue has pretty much gone to zero, as we can see. So in beginning of June, it peaked at around 95,000 validators waiting. I think it reached a little bit higher than the number is showing here. I think it was close to 100,000. That was on June 11th, and then since then it's been like down only, but it's not really down only. It literally, we've onboarded hundreds and thousands of Ethereum validators in that time, which is absolutely amazing. We now stand at 841,000 active validators on the Ethereum network, which is truly amazing, like really, really fantastic. So as you can see over here, that the active validator count went up on June 10th that we just said, but from May it was 576,000. So we've gone up nearly like 30% in that time, which is 25% in that time, which is absolutely phenomenal growth for the last few months, right? And that line of new validators coming online has just been up only, which is fantastic. However, one thing that's been down only is your staking APR. So staking APR now is down to around 3.7%, somewhere around there, which is 3.72%, which is down from the 5.2% that was there at the moment of the Shanghai upgrade. So yeah, it just, hopefully this will remove any barriers for more people becoming Rocket Pool node operators or starting new validators with Rocket Pool. It seems like that, some people might have been waiting for this. So it'll be interesting to see how this will play out with the dynamic with a potential premium that does or doesn't emerge in the coming weeks or months, even maybe, and how it's all going to play out. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. But it looks like that will pretty much reach equilibrium, I think, in the next few days. And then it might take a day or two to get through the queue, depending on what's happening. Okay, and finally, there was, let me actually go back a little bit. So people were talking about selling RPL, and I made a comment that I'm going to start selling my income from November. I was talking about this yesterday. So I was kind of figuring out, let me kind of tell you a little bit why I'm saying this and what I'm saying. So first of all, I am not bearish on RPL at all. I don't think I've ever been bearish on RPL. I'm really happy with the growth possibilities coming up in the next couple of years, and I think they're going to be truly amazing. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, like, I said I'm going to be selling some of my income from November. So those of you who know, I get a grant every month that the GMC pays me for producing rocket fuel, and I've not sold any of the RPL really. Like, okay, like I've sold tiny little bits of it, but nothing to cash out, just like, swapping some to ETH or whatever like that to make the, take off into DeFi videos and that kind of stuff, where I'm playing around a little bit with that, but nothing to actually like cash out, and nothing substantial, like nothing like that. So I think the total like RPL I've sold is like, $2,000 or $3,000 in total. Like I even paid taxes out of my own pocket last year instead of selling my staking rewards or any of the income I got last year in terms of RPL. So that's where I should start. So I'm not selling. This is not me like selling my bag, right? So Bossy said, is there anything specific driving this? So I replied to him saying, I have too much RPL. So first of all, that statement in itself is stupid. No one has too much RPL. I definitely don't have too much RPL. If you're going to give me more RPL, I will definitely take it. But I said I need to start using some of the money to live on. I haven't sold any RPL to take money out since I started Rocket Fuel, or any staking rewards. I even paid taxes out of my pocket last year. If anything, it's dumb to be selling in the low market, but shrug. So what I'm trying to say here is that, look, I need to live, and I try to hold off on selling RPL for kind of as long as possible. However, right now it just doesn't make sense for me to not sell some of my income. And I'll tell you a little bit, like when I first bought RPL, I had a certain amount of RPL, and I thought that was a really nice amount of RPL, and it would perform very nicely in a future bull market, and it'd be very good to me. And that was the amount that I was happy with. And then as the following year and a bit went on, that amount grew from like X to 3 times X. And then I was like, okay, this is a nice amount for me to have. So anything above this amount, then I'll start selling. However, I just bought more and earned more RPL in that time. So I didn't sell anything. And now I'm approaching 5X of the initial amount that I wanted. And that's a lot. So I figured that is a very good line in the sand to draw, that I will keep that as my hold bag leading into the bull run, and anything above that, that 5x amount, that's what I'll start selling off every month, and to live off, basically to pay my taxes and to live. Yeah. So I hope you all aren't offended. Like, I'm still a perma bull. I still have more RPL right now than I ever imagined that I would have, but it will be that I'll be selling a couple of hundred RPL a month going forwards. So sorry, I hope you all don't hate me, but I hope you can kind of understand where I'm coming from as well. But if anyone has any questions about that, you're welcome to ask them in trading. I'm totally happy talking about this in the open, or you can message me as well and talk to me about it privately if you want. But rest assured, like, of course, this is not financial advice. You can do whatever you want with your crypto assets or your money, but I'm just trying to make the decision that's best for me and my family. So sorry, but yeah, that's what's going to happen going forward, because in November that's when I will hit 5x, and I think that's when I will then start selling after that point. So yeah, anyway, thank you all for watching, listening, being part of the Rocket Fuel community, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.